So right now, we're all witnessing as the woke Cracker Barrel CEO panics after a massive backlash from their loyal customers who rejected the complete disaster of the rebrand. Now, Cracker Barrel is in the middle of a full retreat after his brand rebrand backfired. Customers made it very clear that they didn't want the changes, and now Cracker Barrel is simply just, putting the old signs and menu items back in place, and they're also facing a massive proxy war battle from Sardar Biglari, the CEO of Steak and Shake. Okay, now the leadership that simply pushed this shift has been exposed as weak, and Cracker Barrel is scrambling to go ahead and do damage control before investors start losing patience. So yeah, basically at their core, Cracker Barrel is admitting it can't survive without the traditional base that it turned its back on. All right. So with that being said, the restaurants that were converted during, the rebrand are now being converted back. Signs that once symbolized, a new direction are being torn down, and the old designs are going back up. Now, this is not a quiet adjustment at all, but this is actually an open reversal of nearly everything the current leadership tried to force on customers. Now, even the company's own videos on social media now celebrate the very traditions that they once dismissed as outdated. Okay, but that alone tells you how far Cracker Barrel has fallen. All right. So, in the company's own words, they try to frame this collapse as like any good friend relationship. Sometimes you just gotta need a little tune up. That's just corporate panic after months of just alienating the very people who built the brand itself. They said they were irrelevant and stuff, bet everything on a new identity, and now they're acting as if none of that actually ever happened. It's a complete turnaround that was designed to calm shareholders and win back regular people who walked away, but it's not working at all. You see, those videos show what's happening inside the stores where the rocking chairs are back, Uncle Herschel's signs are, returning, and the fake trendy wall decor is being ripped down. Okay. So they once glued random household items to the walls like rolling pins and actually thought it looked authentic. It didn't. But it looked cheap and out of place. Okay. So customers wanted the familiar look back and the feel of the original Cracker Barrel. And now Cracker Barrel is just simply paying to put it all back, okay, as they should. Now, the same goes for the food. Under the current CEO of Cracker Barrel, changes were made that didn't sit well with the longtime customers. And now the menu is being rolled back too. You see, fresh biscuits are apparently back, old recipes are being restored, and the leadership spent simply years forcing unwanted changes only to undo them now. It's kind of about, saving face and stuff, where that shows that just how bad the backlash really was. Now, this particular shift reminds people of what happened with Taco Bell and its Mexican pizza. That item was removed under this same CEO when she worked there, okay? And after customers revolted, it was quietly brought back. And now the same playbook is unfolding at Cracker Barrel. You see, the same Karen CEO just went on ahead and decided to go ahead and inject her liberal bias into this stuff, basically creating what's racist and stuff and what's not racist. All right. But the difference is right now is that this time the stakes are higher simply because the Cracker Barrel's entire image was put on the line. Okay. So yeah, the problem though, it just goes deeper than the core. Okay. But the leadership at the top remains the same, and the food is still a problem. The current CEO, who earns millions while overseeing this collapse, it still has a job. That's why many people believe that she won't last much longer. You see, a crisis management team has clearly stepped in, and the CEO has already entered her lame duck territory. Now, the damage to trust is so severe, and no amount of redecoration can actually fix that, okay? And on top of that, institutional investors are heavily involved. People like BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, and others hold massive portions of the company itself. You see, they have the power to influence board seats and force cultural changes that have nothing to do with business. Okay, so that's why the rainbow rocking chair ended up on Cracker Barrel's porch. Okay, now it wasn't about food or tradition for Cracker Barrel. It was about outside pressure to push the woke ideology. Okay, so when you look at the ownership breakdown for Cracker Barrel, it's obvious. BlackRock alone holds more than 3 million shares. Vanguard, GMT Capital, Alliance, Bernstein, and others hold millions more. Now, collectively, they control enough of the company to go ahead and push whatever direction that they want. Okay. Now, regardless of whether it alienates customers, I mean, that's sad. That's why these reversals are happening now. The backlash got too loud to ignore, even for institutional investors, okay? Now, the board will be up for elections again in the coming months, and the turnover is possible. But when the percentage is actually owned by these big firms and stuff, their influence will still dominate. Your retirement money, 401ks, and even pensions are being used to vote for board members who push cultural politics into companies like Cracker Barrel. You see, customers can speak with their wallets and stuff, but until those boardrooms are reshaped, well, the risk of more bad decisions under Cracker Barrel remains. Okay. Now, the core issue right now is just simple. When ideology is forced into companies like Cracker Barrel, customers lose trust. That trust is the foundation of a board like Cracker Barrel. You see, once it's broken, people stop visiting, sales drop, shareholders panic, and only then does the company backpedal. I mean, that's what we're seeing play out right now. A full reversal, not out of principle, but out of necessity. Okay. Now, the current situation leaves the company vulnerable. You see, the competitors or outside investors could step in if the stock stays low. Figures in the restaurant industry, including those tied to other chains, are also watching closely. Now, when a brand like Cracker Barrel actually wobbles and stuff, others will see an opportunity. And that also adds even more pressure to leadership to prove this reversal is real and not just cosmetic. Okay, so this entire episode just shows how dangerous it is when leadership ignores customers. Cracker Barrel isn't fixing things because it had a change of heart. You know, it's fixing things because it had no other choice. You see, people stopped spending money and the board panicked. Okay, so that's the only reason traditions are being restored at Cracker Barrel. But without the backlash, well, the new identity would still be in place. So whether customers come back to Cracker Barrel is another question. Trust takes years to build and only seconds to destroy. You see, Cracker Barrel can put the old signs back, bring back Uncle Herschel all they want to, and restore the biscuits, but people will just simply remember who made the decisions that actually led to this particular collapse. Now, as long as the same CEO and board remain, suspicion will hang over every move. Okay, so Cracker Barrel once stood for a consistent experience that families could count on, and that was its strength. And that's why, so many people actually felt betrayed when the company trashed its own identity. Now, the current backpedal is just an attempt to get back to that consistency, but words and marketing videos won't be enough. You see, people will wait to see if actions actually match the promises. Okay. So Cracker Barrel is now at a crossroads, as I've said before. Either this reversal marks a genuine commitment to return to its roots, or it's just another stunt to calm critics while the same leadership waits out the storm. Now, customers aren't naive. They know what happened with Cracker Barrel, and they won't forget easily. Now, if the current board doesn't go ahead and clean house and make permanent changes, well, Cracker Barrel is just sliding right back into its own disaster. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Be sure to smash the like button, share the video far wide across social media, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell for future uploads, notifications, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, peace.